Hi, and welcome back to Let's Get the Neighbors Talking. I am Courtney.
I am Lauren. Welcome.
We are so happy to have you here because we're going to talk about something super weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it got the neighbors talking because we were too embarrassed and like, what the fuck are we doing to like even let any neighbors know about it?
I
But
mean, first crystals, then meditation,
then ayahuasca.
then go to a jungle and do drugs with strangers.
Definitely didn't see that coming. Not gonna lie.
Two suburban moms travel into a jungle. It sounds like some sort of horror movie.
What the fuck were we thinking?
I don't know. I don't really know how this all got started. So, guys, today we're going to talk about Lauren and I's trip to Soltara, where we did a ayahuasca retreat.
Yep.
Which is a psychedelic retreat for healing.
Ayahuasca is the world's strongest psychedelic.
And we traveled about a year ago to the jungles of Costa Rica in order to do this on our own.
We paid money.
We did. We did. We paid money.
Yeah.
To go have this. It was, I mean, intense, amazing experience, but also scary and overwhelming and emotional from beginning to end. So we're going to talk about how do two suburban moms end up in Costa Rica doing ayahuasca.
It is. So going through this whole process, we did learn that you are called to do ayahuasca, which we 100% were. I mean, I was looking back in my journal and it was January 24th of last year that so this is going to be talked about on another podcast, but we were trying microdosing of mushrooms, of psilocybin. And so every Friday, we decided to do a little microdose to kind of help expand our creativity and kind of just see and open up our minds and see where it would take us, not only personally, but, for our business and all of that. So full disclosure, we had been microdosing this day at lunch and you brought it up. This was essentially your idea.
I believe it. I don't even know, but again, it calls to you. I don't even know where I even got this idea. I don't even know how I knew what ayahuasca was.
Okay.
You know?
I remember how it started. You were like, I want to like go somewhere and like experiment with psychedelics, like under with a guide and with like, being it facilitated. And I was like, oh, I will find that on the World Wide Web.
So literally we whip out our phones at lunch and just Google searched
psychedelic retreats. Okay. And so thank the Lord we came across Soltara because it was literally the most perfect place for us.
Yeah.
But we applied for this retreat without doing any research, nothing. So you have to apply, it's crazy. Like, so they don't just accept anybody. You have to be somewhat mentally fit. They don't accept anybody who is trying to stop an addiction actively. It's not a recovery center. So there are certain parameters of entering this retreat. But yeah, we just signed up.
We talked about it one day. The next day, we did our application.
Yeah.
At work.
Yep.
I mean, just like click, 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 click. Lauren started clicking away and I was like, yeah. This sounds good. This sounds perfect. It did, to our defense, it got great reviews.
Oh, yeah. Life-changing. Like you read and it is life-changing. So you read the reviews and you're like, oh my God, I want a part of that. Like I want to experience that. We just didn't realize to get to that life-changing moment, the amount of like emotional turmoil that comes out. So it's very interesting. Plant medicine, which ayahuasca is referred to as a plant medicine, like mushrooms, like a pharmaceutical will suppress your emotions. It shoves down your emotions. Plant medicine brings up your emotions and brings them out. So it says that the folklore is that plant medicine will take you to hell and then heaven.
Sorry, there's some silence here, but that that
Pretty much.
hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even just the application process, you start to, as weird as it is, you start to feel the effects of the medicine before you even take it. So as soon as you start the process of being called to do this, and again, I don't know how random
Random. I'm going to random you.
I don't know how random it is for other people. We didn't really talk about how other people got into it.
No, we did at the group session, and we were the only assholes that signed up without knowing a fucking thing of what we were getting into. I mean, we rolled in the first day like in full resort wear. They must have been laughing hysterically at us. So, no, we were the only ones.
We had like, new bikinis and
long caftans.
I think what I envisioned was us like around a campfire. I don't know. I guess, yes, taking drugs, but like sharing in an experience, like maybe having a margarita or two.
No.
None of that. Dancing around.
Nope.
It wasn't like that, you guys.
No.
Just so everybody's aware, if you're going to do this experience, it is not to party.
Wait, would you do it again?
I actually don't think so.
Yeah.
I would do a different type of spiritual experience. I'm not afraid of doing psychedelics again for that experience. I do love, there's so many things I love about Soltara, especially that it's guided, it's protected, it's very thorough, it's
safe.
Very safe.
Yeah.
They have a doctor on, there. It is very safe. But I think that was intense.
Yeah.
That was intense. That maybe one enough for me right now.
So once you get accepted into the program, you have to go through a series of interviews with a facilitator just to help you get prepared for the retreat. And then you also have to do preparation. So you have to get off any SSRI medications that you're on. And then you have to start that that has to be out of your system at least 2 months before, because that's actually the one thing that can cause an adverse reaction to ayahuasca. So it can cause an unsafe reaction to the medicine. And you also have to, and I'll talk about my experience with that, but you also have to prep your body for this medicine. So they want you to have the best experience possible, which means you have to have the cleanest container possible. So you are giving up pork products, you're giving up dairy, alcohol, caffeine, aspirins. You can't take any medication.
Allergy medicines.
Yep. Literally everything is removed other than fruits, veggies, lean meats. No dairy. So a very, very clean diet. For me, going off the SSRI was my biggest struggle for sure. Just like mentally and then physically, like that was really, really hard for me. I did it over as soon as we learned that we were going. So I started at the beginning of February and I felt so sick getting off those medications. So sick.
I went off some SSRIs as well, but mine was a different medication. It was also a very low dose. It wasn't bad. I mean, I had maybe a little bit of emotional flux, but it wasn't bad as yours was. I felt terrible for you.
Oh, it was so
I didn't know if we were going to make it there because you were so sick and it was so bad.
Yeah. And then I was also nervous. Like I struggle innately with anxiety. Like, so I take very good care of myself. I don't drink a lot. I exercise regularly. I meditate. I do all of the things. And I innately in me still have anxiety. It's just a part of me. And there's nothing wrong with medication. That's why it's there. So I was nervous for that, but that was a main reason why I wanted to try ayahuasca. And I also wanted to try ayahuasca because I did some research that it could potentially help with the lesions in my brain. In order to get them to accept me, I had to have my neurologist sign off on it. And I sent him a little portal message and I was like, not sure if you've gotten this before. But he's like, I don't see any, he's like, I don't know much about it at all. But I did a little research and I don't see any harm in trying it. So give it a go. But the prep was hard.
The prep was hard. I started to feel the emotional, you felt it due to the medication, but I think I started to feel the emotional pull and release and ups and downs and fear and just like the letting go from my body physically and mentally weeks before.
Yeah.
As soon as I did the facilitator meeting, which we'll talk about in a second, I started to feel the effects of the medicine. And I didn't really know that was possible, but I did read that as soon as you make the choice, the medicine actually in the universe starts working on your body and on releasing those emotions. I have had trauma in my past. I've had pain and loss. And so I went into ayahuasca hoping to let some of that go and to release and to move forward. And I have to say, during the prep might have been the most release I had in the whole experience. During the ceremonies, absolutely were intense, but I think I dealt with so much crap before I even got there emotionally. Not really on like you're dealing with the crap and the medication, I think was totally different. Mine was definitely more
Well, it was
mental.
It was weird too because we had the same facilitator, so it's basically another word for a counselor. We had the same counselor, and your meetings with her were much different than my meetings with her. Like I remember you telling me, you were like, she says this is going to be gritty. Like it's going to be gritty. And I was like, that's not what I'm getting at all. Like but I think she could definitely kind of like read us a bit. I'm not sure, but we definitely had, you definitely struggled more mentally prior where I struggled mentally there.
Right. And I don't know if mine was fear building up as to what might happen in ceremony. I was very afraid of what might come up. Like I had this fear that there was something else in my past that was going to like blow me away and I was going to, have to deal with new trauma. I was actually more afraid of being re-traumatized instead of thinking I was going to be able to let it go. But the prep with the, no sugar or, not a lot of sugar, no dairy, caffeine withdrawal, no alcohol.
Well, and you're used to having a glass of wine at night. Like, so I think that also was a big change for you.
Huge.
You were drinking tea like it was like
I was Boston Tea Party.
It was crazy.
I was just swimming in the Boston Tea Party waters.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was very hard. It's hard for me to do things I don't want to do. I really, really struggled with that. And I think now reflecting, that was part of the reason I was doing this and I was there was to...
You don't like to be uncomfortable.
I don't like to be uncomfortable. I don't like to be too cold. I don't like to be too hot. I always carry snacks with me. I don't want to get hungry. I don't want to get thirsty. Like I like to keep myself very comfortable. And so that was very hard for me to give up things. It kind of made me angry. It brought up anger for me too.
Well, you also don't get angry a lot.
No. So it did. It brought up anger, frustration, and a lot of mental debates, like so many mental debates on like, why the hell are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this? Like you're living a good life. You seem pretty happy. You've got what you need. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Diving deeper into your shit. Just supposed to stuff it down, aren't you?
We do like to experiment.
Yeah. No, I am.
I mean,
so glad we did. I just think the prep is more intense than anybody told us it would be.
Correct.
But things were different for you. You didn't have any trouble with diet.
No, because you
actually like that sort of
structure.
Restriction.
Mm-hmm.
You like living in, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if somebody asked me what I'm supposed to do tomorrow, I'm sweating now.
Yeah.
I just like to
Yeah.
make it up as I go, I guess.
It's funny too, because I can vividly remember leaving my house for the trip the day of and being like, when I come back, it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that feeling distinctly. Soltara is amazing. It is not easy to get to. Okay. So there was that whole like layer of travel. And I hate traveling. I hate flying. I take medication to fly. I hate it. It is horrible. I also get motion sickness. So not only did we have to fly, then you have to take a cab to a hotel meeting point. Then from there, you have to take an hour and a half bus ride. Okay. Then you have to go on a 2-hour ferry.
I think the ferry got messed up. That's why it was 2 hours. It shouldn't
Correct.
have been.
It should not have been, but it was. Then it was an hour bus ride after that.
Into the middle of nowhere.
Yes. So
I mean, there was no town or anything around. And, you know, we were leaving. I mean, you guys know we are moms. We were leaving behind kids, partners, friends, all of which, although they supported what we were doing, were not super happy about it.
I mean, I didn't have that experience. I didn't. I mean, Andy, he was very supportive. I wouldn't say he was like, rah, 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 like go, but he was not happy.
I don't know. I don't know if Kelly was not. I don't think he was supportive. He was like, this is what you want to do. I'll support you. But I think they were nervous.
Well, yeah. I mean, definitely. But that's different than not happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think anybody was not happy. I just think, I mean, actually, I do think I think one of our friends was not happy.
Well, that doesn't take much to make her not happy. So that's fine.
Maybe two. But I think that it was,
it was a ballsy move.
It was a ballsy move for 2 months.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I am not nervous. You guys know, like, I'm not nervous about much. And
I'm nervous about everything.
And Lauren's nervous about everything.
Worst case scenario.
Oh, everything's going to be fine. No nerves flying, no nerves traveling new places. I get a little nervous talking to new people.
Okay. So here in my mind, I'm like, we're going to get kidnapped. We're going to get mugged. We're going to get raped. We're going to get dragged into a corner. This bus driver, he's going to take us to a hidden den.
Oh, yeah. That's what you thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I was going to the right spot to work all that shit out.
Yeah. And we had to stay, did you already say we had to stay the night somewhere else before we left for the retreat at this like hotel, kind of a nice hotel with a restaurant-ish. It was the longest afternoon.
It was purgatory.
It was purgatory. You're right.
It didn't end.
It was so long. It wasn't like we thought it would be sunny. We put our bathing suits on and our caftans. I'm like, let's go to the pool. But like the pool, when you're terrified and it's cloudy, and then we had a bachelorette party next to us.
And a lot of birds, like loud squawking birds. Remember those birds? It was like freaky. They were like jungle birds. It was not good. It was not good.
It was not good. It was like everything we could do to just go to sleep. We just like, when can this day be over?
Yeah. So we finally got to Soltara after our trek. Okay. And one thing what was nice is when we were waiting for the rest of the group. So they do small groups. And it's nice to know that like how we got vetted, they're obviously vetting other people. And when we were waiting for the van, we hopped out and there was 3 other women that were sitting on the couches. And I was like, I'm like, okay, they look normal. And then it was funny, after a couple days, 2 of them had said, when we saw you and Courtney get out of the van, we were like, oh, dear God, thank you. But yeah, so when we got there, the next morning you wake up and you have to dive right into what's called a vomitivo. So that's the first thing you do.
It's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, and Court didn't know about it. So again, Court doesn't want to know about things. She prefers to go head in the sand, which is a great, fine coping mechanism. I, on the other hand, like to know about everything. And so I remember learning.
I did know about it. I just didn't know what it entailed.
Okay. I asked you, I said, I learned something. Do you want to know about it? And
No,
you
thank
said,
you.
nope.
No, every day you would ask me that at work. You'd be like, "Oh, I found this out." I said, "I really would just like to not know anymore. I know what I have to know, and that's already too much."
We shall think it is a vacation.
Correct. I shall pack a giant suitcase of caftans.
Yep. Yep. So that's the first thing you do when you wake up. So the point of the vomitivo is, again, to get your body, soul, mind as clean as possible. They brew a copious, did you like that word? Did I use it correctly? A copious amount?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. A large amount of lemongrass tea. Okay, so buckets and buckets and buckets of lemongrass tea. And the group, there was, I think, 15 of us. The group all sits, and 4 at a time, you go up over a railing, and a facilitator feeds, gives you buckets of this lemongrass tea, and you have to drink it and slug it and slam it until you vomit multiple times. And the point of the lemongrass tea is that not only to clean out your system, but for the shamans that administer the ayahuasca, it allows them to see more clearly the imbalances that are in your system energetically. So there is a point to that.
It's like shining. They said it's like shining a light on your soul and your traumas. So that sucked, guys. That was not good. That was very not good. And not only that, but it's kind of like a relay race, right? So you're not up there alone vomiting. You're not like in your own space.
It's a team building exercise.
Building experience. There's 5 people up there also vomiting right next to you in a row. And you have a guide or a facilitator right next to you, rubbing your back, encouraging you to let go, giving you more and more tea. So I can't fucking throw up. It won't. I can't. I have a very hard time letting go. And
isn't that funny how like symbolically, because I had 0 problems vomiting, but I also have 0 problems letting go.
I know.
To a fault almost.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah,
moving on.
Yeah, totally.
Don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, they might be mad. You're like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to talk to them again. So I didn't even really have the knowledge at that time to know that it was spiritual, that I wasn't letting go. I was just like, I'm not a big vomiter. I don't throw up easily. And so I kept drinking it and I kept not throwing up, but my body started to fill up anyway. And so there's only one other way out, you guys. All right? There's 2 exits. So I do start eventually vomiting a little bit. Okay. And in that process, I just pee all over myself.
It's
okay?
True.
All over myself. I mean, I'm not on complete display. I don't know. I think everybody's focused on
You were
themselves.
wearing a dress, so it was better.
No, I was wearing I was wearing baggy pants. So anyway, I start vomiting. I finally start letting go, but and obviously in both directions. Very encouraging, the facilitator, but honestly, like, I don't think I held on to, I was sick all day. Like, I got a crazy headache. That wrecked me.
Well, Court also got a crazy headache because you're supposed to give caffeine up, and we both stated that we will not be doing that. And we brought caffeine, we brought like cold brews with us and like smuggled them in. But the first night you get there, you have to turn in all of your contraband, which included coffee and a giant bag of pills from myself. It was embarrassing.
I didn't know if you were going to give up.
I didn't want to.
But you did. You did
I did.
Willingly.
I did, because I didn't want to ruin the experience that we had just worked so hard to get there from. Yeah. And I didn't have intentions of, but I did. I carried Ativan in case like something went down in the airplane. I was carrying Dramamine. I was carrying when I travel, I carry a whole bag of stuff just in case something goes down. I mean, I always say, listen, if the plane crashed and everybody survived, it would be me who would be dead because of an overdose. Okay? That's what, or like everybody could exit, but like I can't because I'm hunched over, passed out in the seat. So we did have to give over all of our contraband, which included coffee. So that day was the first day that we didn't have any coffee. And that's that with all of the drinking of the tea. I mean, clearly you weren't dehydrated.
It was. And when you vomit, I also want to tell everybody, nothing comes out but the water. Did you vomit any food?
No, because we like didn't eat.
Oh yeah, so they restrict your food too.
Yeah, you only eat two
Not
times
only do
a
you
day.
not get margaritas, you don't get tacos.
Yeah. You eat 2 times a day, but all it is, the chef is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And it's an all, curated diet for the medicine, which is perfect. At least you don't have to think about that anymore.
No salt.
Yep.
You hated that.
Oh, no, salt was so bad for me. I love salt so much.
But I think that the vomiting, the letting go, the headaches, you passing off the contraband, like they make you do it in a group setting. So
It was embarrassing.
it's a little embarrassing, but I actually think they want people to connect over that. They want to build team support.
I mean, other people had like big bags of like supplements and like protein powder. Okay. I had like a giant bag of prescription
I
pills.
mean, we had one guy, I think he was hiding stuff in his room. So
I mean, but I do like your aspect of the group. Like, so after the vomitivo, you go into a group session where the facilitators, they explain the process of the ceremonies, and then you get to know the group, which is really important. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about that, but then it was really, there is obviously, we know we preach this all the time, but like having that sense of community and seeing other people's struggles, because I think a lot of times we can get into our own head that we're the only one facing a struggle. I mean, everybody is struggling.
absolutely.
So you go around these circles and you listen to each person, their story and why they're there and what brought them to the medicine.
I was, you can look at somebody and have no idea what they're going through. We talked about this with our podcast with Meredith too. But, there were these 2 brothers there and they were like, looked very healthy and like doing their thing, very chatty and social. I mean, they had both had extreme pain, loss, and trauma. And one of the women that we knew, worked for a government and had experienced a ton of stress and hard choices to make high up in government. And not this government, just so we're clear, okay? And there was just, everybody had a reason to be there. Some people's reason, I think there were a couple people who were on the offset were just interested and curious and weren't kind of willing to share maybe their pain at the moment. But every single person there by the end.
But maybe that wasn't, I always think like maybe that wasn't their reason for going.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was intense to listen and to get to know these people and to hear their stories.
How many people were in our group? That's
15.
a good thing for 15. 15. And you meet in like what is it called?
A Majorca.
Majorca, which is a kind of like a hatch covered circular hut. But very beautiful. The sides are open with screens, so you can see, it's right in the middle of the jungle, so you can see the trees around you. You can hear the animals. The ocean is on the other side. So you do feel like you are very, very safe in nature and surrounded by the support of the universe. And you have your circle time with these people, but then you have 4 facilitators. And then you have 2 Shipibo people who are the shaman who run the ceremony.
Yep. So they're the healers. They're the ones that have brewed and made the medicine. They are known to be the closest humans to Earth. They spend months and months and months alone in solitude in the jungle, connecting with the plants and with the medicine. And then they brew it, and they're the ones that administer the ayahuasca. And so they are also hearing and listening to everybody's stories so that they can best decide how to help each individual. And one of the facilitators translates to them. And it was before we started this circle time. The lead facilitator was like, hey, on the off chance, he's like, this is rare. It rarely happens. But if a facilitator feels the need to touch you, they will ask us and we will ask you. Sometimes they do like this sucking motion, but we'll explain everything and we'll always ask your permission before anything and everything is done. So everybody was sharing their stories, and I was more towards the end. And my anxiety had just been like building and building and building. My anxiety, I was terrified, like legit terrified. Soltara is so safe. And I wish that there was somebody like me who had gone that I could have spoken to and have looked in the eye and been like, you are safe.
Because when I told Lauren she was safe,
I don't believe her because she thinks everywhere is safe. So whatever she says, but you had also never been there. No. So, but I was terrified and like pure fear. And prior to this, I had like a little mini meltdown where I asked to speak to a facilitator. I actually radioed one. That's how bad I like used a walkie-talkie, and I was like, somebody needs to come help me.
Was that before the ceremony or after?
It was before.
So they give you walkie-talkie. They just put them in your room and they let you know when they welcome you that if there's an emergency, you can get a hold of somebody. Okay. So I think I had a meeting with either the doctor or a facilitator, just a one-on-one check-in. And so I leave Lauren behind.
Can't leave me behind.
And I get to she was a mess, but I get to the room and she's like, oh, I'm doing okay. I said, that's great. She said, yeah, I ran into Will and, gave me some advice and I'm going to be okay right at the moment. I was like, great. And it didn't. I was like, how did she run into anybody in our room?
I radioed him. Nope. I radioed him. And
what did you say on the radio?
I was like, can somebody come to our room, please? I forgot what room number we were in, but yeah. So I radioed him, and he was so great. He's like, I first got into ayahuasca because I have major anxiety. He's like, I get what you're feeling. But then he explained the process to me. He was like, we're sitting you for the ceremony. You're going to be in between this one gentleman who is a doctor and this other girl that's done this. This is her third time. We're putting you in a really protective, energetic bubble. They place everybody in ceremony based upon your energy and how they're reading you and kind of your backstory. So just hearing some of that made me feel better. Then
not next to me.
No, they don't put people who come together. You don't get to sit next to each other. Then I had another meltdown, and that was with Frida. And that was not good either. Okay. So then we moved to the group share. And by this point, I am like, literally, my pot has like overfilled. I'm like, I was a mess. And so I'm trying to tell my story and why I'm there, but it was just coming out in sobs and like hysterical sobbing. Like I couldn't even fully speak. I was embarrassed. I was terrified. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. It was a major full-on panic attack. And the Shipibo healer talked to the facilitator, and he said, hey, he was like, afterwards, are you willing to accept a treatment from Francisco, who was the maestro, the Shipibo healer? And I said, absolutely. So afterwards, half the people got up.
Most of the people left. I think I just stayed because I was fucking freaked out.
Yeah.
And decided somebody should stay with you.
And I'm just still sitting there sobbing. And he came over to me. It was the craziest thing. He came over to me and he sprayed this perfume on me. And then he started to sing a song. And then he literally started sucking from the top of my head. And I remember thinking, oh, this poor guy, you don't want what I have. Please don't suck from in there. I don't want to give this to you. And he just kept sucking and sucking and sucking. And did he spit? I feel like I don't remember. Yeah, I feel like he spit and he just kept sucking. It was probably maybe 3 or 4 minutes, like right from the crown of my head. And I shit you not even 2 minutes later, I could breathe after not feeling like I could breathe for a solid 3 days. For 3 days, I was in panic and fight or flight. And that was the first time that I actually felt some sort of peace. And it was visibly noticeable because when we met for lunch afterwards, I got multiple people came up to me and they were like, oh my God, you look like a different person.
Yeah. The light had come back into your face.
Yeah.
And you finally sank into a little bit of confidence and trust
Yeah.
in it. But what was going through your head when he was sucking it out?
A fear for him.
Okay.
But just
were there any flashes of emotion or thought or
no,
anything?
just fear.
Got it.
And not just for him, just still me. I was in a constant state of fear for 3 days. Yeah. And I hadn't been sleeping. It just made me also realize too, I'll walking back to lunch and finally being okay, I'm exhausted, but I'm going to be okay. Realizing how powerful energy is in our body.
I mean, you guys, this is before any medicine has been taken.
Yes.
Everything we're talking about today, with the exception of lemongrass tea, which was just made there to vomit, we experienced as a result of starting this process.
Yeah.
And the difference between Soltara and other ayahuasca retreats. Soltara is in Peru and in Costa Rica. Lauren and I are terrible at geography, so we just assumed Costa Rica was super close.
It's not.
It's not. But the part of the experience that makes this retreat so special is that you have these healers there with you. Because otherwise, you're taking the medicine, you might have a facilitator that's going to help you be safe. But to add in this spiritual work of a person who comes from the earth and works with plants and energy, their entire life is on its own. You could not take the ayahuasca.
100%.
And just experience these healers who actually take the ayahuasca in order to shine their light and see what you need to release.
I just love to feeling, and again, because we've always, since we've started this Moon and Stone journey, we believe in the power of energy. We believe we have the power to shift energy. And I remember walking back and being feeling even more confident in what we do. You know what I mean? Because energy is within us and around us, and we can manipulate it. And it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. And I just love, I'm okay, the connection, what these plants can do. It's the same with what our crystals can do and what connection can do and all of that.
We brought crystals. We did bring crystals with us on our trip. Some people ask us that. We did bring some things. I brought Trolliet with me.
And we buried some there.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. We placed them all around the resort.
Yep. And we gave each of the participants a crystal to kind of connect us all. We gave the facilitators crystals. We gave the healers crystals.
It was an important thing for me because because I've been working with crystals longer than I had ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. I placed a lot of my trust in them. So when I brought them with me, I felt like they were going to protect me. I used Trolliet because it is a higher ascending stone. It's a stone to reach your higher realms. And I carried that with me at night or wore it into the ceremony.
And I didn't wear anything.
No, you didn't.
I did not. I was nervous that they were going to switch and change up my energy, and I wasn't going to get the full healing I
Oh,
needed.
wow. I thought you were worried they would magnify it to a point you couldn't handle.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You just wanted pure.
Yeah.
Not me. More is more.
Yeah, totally. Totally. But this is a lot. This is a lot to dive into for just one podcast. So we're actually going to do a little to be continued ... And we're going to talk all about the ceremonies at the next podcast.
The ceremonies and then the aftermath. We're going to talk about how we reintegrated what we learned back into our daily life, how we connect with it still, how important it is to use ayahuasca even after the ceremonies to continue the healing.
Yeah.
Can't wait. And we get to, we'll dish on all of the
What are we
crazy stuff that went through our head. Oh man, you guys just wait. You thought we did weird stuff today. All right, guys, thank you so much. Please continue to follow us and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you listen to. It helps you stay in touch. We will release a new podcast every other Friday. And we love that you're here being a part of our community. So continue to get notified when one comes out.
Thank you so much. See you in a couple weeks.